Eat the banana, it's gonna be okay. Eat the banana.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, why do you want to be the horse, Vaush? Because then I'd have a giant dick.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hard Light Network. Guys, I finally get to make a losers, creeps, and pedos video. I have finally managed to tap into the YouTube meta, and I will become a niche internet micro-celebrity. But before we get into it, everyone, the first question I have for you, the viewer, is this. What do this
I'm a size queen. I like big dick.
and this
Stick it in your mouth. Stick it in your mouth.
have in common? If your answer was low-tier partisan hackery with a big heaping helping of degeneracy, then you're a winner. And your prize? A slow descent into madness. But seriously though, guys, this year has been absolutely wild when it comes to political influencers. Maybe it's just because it's an election year. Maybe the mask has just slipped for these guys. But on one side, you have people openly defending PDF philia, and on the other side, you have people so angry about DEI hires that they're force-feeding black men bananas. And, you know, the timing couldn't be better, honestly, considering we have such a contentious election coming up. Might as well get people as riled up as humanly possible, right? Political dialectics aside, I wanted to talk about these two specific examples, and we'll throw in a third one just for kicks. First, let's talk about this clip that's been circulating of Alex Stein 99 performing this bit, joke, whatever you would call this.
I'm sorry, just have a banana. Just eat the banana. Eat the banana, it's gonna be okay. Eat the banana. Eat the banana. Stick it in your mouth. 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 Stick it all the way in there. Get it in there. Get it in there. Get it all the way in. As deep as it'll go. Okay.
Yeah, no, okay, I get it. This isn't a joke. This is an embarrassing, dehumanizing minstrel show. This is one of those elitist humiliation rituals that Alex Jones is always talking about. With that context, it makes a whole lot more sense. You know, and not for nothing, but people have pointed out that Glenn Beck has touted the Blaze TV as a sort of wholesome, family-oriented, like Christian and God-honoring network. But then you have this. Is this like emblematic of conservative values? Because I just don't think so. Now, if you guys will actually forgive me a little bit of conspiratorial thinking, this actually looks more like the elitist dialectic. This looks like a way to alienate black and brown people from conservative or right-wing media. It would be one thing if this was like a self-contained Alex Stein 99 bit, right? Where he was out in public, he had his own like setup for this. But no, this is through the Blaze TV syndicated network. Like he's showing this on the network to represent the Blaze TV. They seem to be perfectly fine with it too, even though I remember them firing people like Elijah Schaffer for being too edgy. This is framed and distributed in such a way that I can't help but think this is some sort of political statement. I mean, the construction of this joke or bit isn't even similar to how he normally does it. You know, normally it's Alex that's in the self-incriminating, humiliating position, and he's doing it as a statement on the greater social situation. I hate to even talk about this really because it comes across less as political satire and more as some sort of weird buck-breaking fantasy video. Next up, we've got Vaush, and yikes, homies. I don't even really know where to begin with this one, guys. For the last month or so now, Vaush has been catching an increasing amount of flack for the sensitive nature of some leaked documents on his stream. And by that, I'm talking about the folder full of lolicon and bestiality videos he has saved on his computer.
What?
Yes, you heard me right. This guy. He's been spanking the monkey. He's been greasing his gander. You know, wrestling with one-eyed Willie. All while consuming CP. You know, real Podesta type stuff. You know, a little bit of a Little St. James type of vibe. No, but don't worry, guys. Don't worry. She's not actually 12. She's really a 3,000-year-old demon dragon that's in the body of a 12-year-old. That's the strategy that Vaush and all his fans are going with. They're just straight up denying reality. Everybody saw the leak. Everybody saw the folder of the content that he had saved. Everybody saw how Vaush was handling his business. You know, he tried to say it was because of the size. You know, he tried to say it was because of the horse meme. But that's not good enough, bro. That's not good enough. You can't say it's not child porn. It's childlike porn. You can't say that, bro. That's disgusting. And the craziest thing about it is he's going to get away with this. It's just going to turn into like an open secret that Vaush is waxing the walls to this type of content. But I guess it kind of already was, because it's not like this is new.
This wasn't the first time that I fucked up in this specific regard. You know, after the whole child labor argument saga, people went through a bunch of like likes in an old public Twitter or, you know, porn account that I had, and over like thousands of liked you know, furry big dick monster girl images or whatever. I think they found one that was like the character was meant to be a teenager, you know, like, and it's not surprising to me that that might happen because, you know, I'm running between classes, scrolling on my phone. I look at an image maybe 2 or 3 seconds before I like. The degree of scrutiny required there indicates that this goes beyond some kind of like matter of personal temperance and extends broadly into like, how weird is it that that's something that's been that normalized? You know?
This is just a confirmation of what everybody already knew about Vaush. The way he has talked about this subject in the past, the way that he has presented himself, both in jest and seriously, is like all we need to know. This is just the icing on the cake. This is literally just the confirmation that we need to say with certainty that he is this type of guy. Vaush fans be like, actually, the age of consent in Japan is 15. To be absolutely clear with you guys, the real purpose of that hour and 41-minute context video is not to provide context, it's to create a smokescreen. First of all, by making it so long, if you don't watch the full thing, he can always default to, well, you didn't watch the full video, so you don't know the whole context, yada yada. The other reason why he made it so long was to bog down the actual conversation with a meta conversation to trip people up. It took 10 seconds for Vaush to out himself as a lolicon, and he spent an hour and 41 minutes attempting to justify it. To tell you the truth, guys, I'm not really interested in the nuance between what makes a pedophile versus an ephebophile versus a hebephile. I've actually got a new phrase for everybody to learn in this discussion, and it's called age of majority. You see, this is different from age of consent because the age of majority is actually the legal threshold for adulthood. And as you guys can see, basically everywhere in the world, with the exception of some places in the Middle East and Southern Asia, the age of majority is 18 and older. So when the Where's My Hug guy starts talking about age of consent, you know where to point him. My final point against Vaush and the Lolly Brigade actually comes down to Ethan Klein's point that he made on the H3H3 podcast.
You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right?
No,
that was
we
the
don't
vibe that I
know.
got because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and has like tits and a belly. So that's just the vibe I got. But now knowing that the artist is a lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a lolly drawing. So like that's how it is, right? It's a drawing, you get it without context.
The context is in the damn picture. It's a child. Fuck, man.
Yeah, who cares who painted it? What the fuck?
It was drawn.
God,
It was drawn
it's
by
the
a
context.
professional. He calling me a liar and going on and on about all this shit when he just said, yeah, one of them was lolicon. So what? Where's the conversation go from here? You said I'm right. You said you look at lolly.
Vaush was so hurt and betrayed by this, the only way he could rationalize it, at least publicly for his context video, was that Ethan Klein had jumped the shark, that he was betraying him for clout during an election year, or something like that. Coincidentally, while Vaush was giving voice to his hurt feelings, scientists discovered a brand new gas giant in our solar system comprised entirely of copium-420. The whole, I didn't mean it, bro, I thought it was Lord of the Rings fan art argument doesn't actually hold much water, Vaush. This is just another malicious lie for you to poison the well and obfuscate the actual truth. But speaking of poisoning the well, we're actually at our final example for the video and our bonus round with Charlie Kirk. You guys remember way back at the beginning of this video when I talked about how Alex Stein's little skit was really only about agitating black people and making them angry towards the Republican side of the aisle? Well, I feel like this comment is kind of along those same lines.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Bro, you volunteered that. He was like, you want to go full thought crime? I think black people are unqualified. He immediately then tried to backpedal it and was like, no, but the left made me this way. I wouldn't think like that if it wasn't for DEI. Like, if DEI didn't exist, then I wouldn't automatically think that when I saw a black pilot. But then he got scared. He was like, no, the left, and that's not immediate. I don't immediately think that. The left made me do it. What a limp-wristed response. Like, just own what you literally said 2 seconds ago. You were not brainwashed into making that statement. You said something controversial and executed it in a way that ended up with you putting your foot in your mouth. If you've followed my show for any amount of time, you know that I've covered many topics, including DEI. And while there are arguments to be made about DEI and the unconstitutional application of affirmative action, defaulting to black people are unqualified just isn't the way to solve it. These guys are so hysterical sometimes, they're acting like the unwashed, uneducated masses are filing over the border single file and lining up to become airline pilots by the millions. It's just this goober partisan take that really serves no functional purpose other than to galvanize voting blocks. That's it. That's all. I'm going to launch back into conspiracy territory here for a minute, guys. Forgive me. But what this looks like to me is that due to the heightened tensions caused by immigrants moving into predominantly black areas, it looks like the elite need to create a dialectic that prevents black people from jumping ship and going to vote Republican. It isn't a partisan issue to recognize that the areas that migrants are being moved to when they cross the border are predominantly black areas, and this is leading to a shift in the amount of resources that can go to these communities. And again, this is just your typical crazy conspiracy theory. But that's the explanation that makes the most sense to me, because like I've said in previous shows, I don't understand the form or function of the latent racism that is on the right. Like, Charlie Kirk isn't some random Republican voter. He's a public figure and talking head who knew exactly how that comment would be received. He preempted it by saying, do you want to go full thought crime, which indicates that he knew that prior to saying it. These are the same guys that get butthurt when the left cries racism about everything, and then they say something like this. But regardless of where you land on Charlie Kirk's opinion on DEI, at least he didn't do this.
I'm sorry, just have a banana.
That is going to do it for me, guys. So I appreciate you guys watching all the way up to this point. Please do let me know what you think in the comments, because I am just sick and tired of the low-tier, mid-grade, mid-wit level bored dead politics. You know, you guys know me. I don't mind talking politics. I don't mind talking about social issues. And I'm not doing the enlightened centrism meme. I genuinely have beef with all of these takes. Which, for me at least, this is the part that sucks the most about it. It just feels more and more like people are filtering their opinions through their ideological framework. Like they can only have pre-approved thoughts. But what do you guys think? Is Charlie Kirk a loser? Is Alex Stein a creep? And is Vaush a PDF file? Be sure to leave a like if you like the video. And until next time, love you guys. Safe travels.